hear me? Good. Okay, so my topic today is leveraging technology to create new efficiency within travel business. Technology sounds and looks sometimes complicated and boring. And a lot of buzzwords, a collection of buzzwords that only help you to get a good ranking in Google search, for example. So should it be like this? Actually, if you look through the baby's eyes, you see nothing is boring, nothing is complicating, and everything is an opportunity for learning and improvement. So I try to resist the temptation to use schemas and a lot of process flows. And with simple images, and I hope with some insights from this industry, I hope I can tell a compelling story and help you understand technology is simple and something that is an enabler for your business. So a few words about myself. My name is Angelo Jambore. I'm much of a toddler when it's about travel industry with only 2.5 years of experience in travel. But I've got 20 years of experience in product management and marketing, working in different industries, in telecommunication and cybersecurity, facing customers, seeing a lot of touch points and interactions where you have troubles or you can improve the experience. So I hope my background and my experience can bring something new in this industry and we can bridge two different worlds and learn something from here. Right now, I'm heading the APAC office of DCS Plus. DCS Plus is a technology company based in Europe with 16 years of experience in developing technology products for travel industries only. So, DCS Plus was set up in 2002. In 16 years of experience, we met a lot of customers and we had hundreds of projects where we learned the main pain point or the main problem from this industry is the burden of manual work. We know travel is labor intensive. There are a lot of employees involved in a lot of activities, in operations, facing the customer, in finance, and so on. And the higher the number of people involved in activities, the higher the risk of more errors that will have an impact on customer experience and eventually even an impact on the performance of a travel agency as a whole. And this is the industry we are living in today. So if you have a problem, there is also an opportunity. APAC actually and Asia is the best market to be in, and travel is the best industry to work in today. It's the fastest growing market or the fastest growing region in travel. We have a lot of new customers, a lot of new entrants in the market, and of course fierce competition that comes with this growing market. And the key word that I've heard many times talking to a lot of travel agencies I met in the last few months is automation. So everybody is talking about automation. But what actually is automation? It is a hype. It is another buzzword that we try to use in this industry just to catch your attention. Actually, it's nothing new. Automation is something that everybody uses today, and it's from industrial robotics, for example, to software robotics, where human work is replaced by machines. So we can talk about automation maybe starting with the 20th century with Ford when they started with mass production in automobiles. And that was maybe the first good example of automation. But from then on, we had a lot of steps that we went through, and now automation is everywhere. And of course, this industry cannot stay away from automation. But travel is also about people, and modern automation is about people. And it's about the people we work with, our employees in travel agencies, but also the people we work for, the customers. We try to improve their experience, we try to serve them with good packages, with with something that is relevant and giving them an experience from that package. So I'm trying to switch from technology, from automation, and to look from a customer perspective and see which are the key touch points and processes involved and see how this looks in real life, actually. So if we take a corporate account, a corporate customer, and a typical corporate customer, especially a higher one, may use an online booking tool to automate the booking process. And they will have a collection of rules, they will have an interface, they will have an approval flow, and some other information stored there and some internal rules in order to perform a booking in an automated way as much as possible without the intervention of a travel manager or of the travel agency behind. So let's say I'm a corporate customer, I open an interface, I log in, I fill in, I search for a hotel, for a flight, and then I book it. And I do this, and just by doing this, actually the travel agency can automate a lot of things behind, because I don't send an email, I don't need to get an offer back, I don't call in the agency, I don't need to talk and use the time of a travel agent. So this is, let's say, the first step of automation. And this is something quite simple and for a few years already a standard in a big corporate world. But the larger volumes are in the smaller corporates. So what I want to say is that today, for the smaller guys, there is also software in place to help you move away the workload from travel agents to the corporate side, to the customer side, and also improve his experience in buying the travel products. There is already software in market. There is affordable, that is easy to deploy and easy to use, and these are the keywords for this. What happens further on? Because I'm a travel corporate, I book. Okay, for me it's easy. I see that I get a ticket, a flight ticket, I have the hotel, and that's all. What's behind? So there are 5 key processes that I chose to show you here and to get a little bit of insights. And one is quality control, which will set the background from the very beginning. Because we know behind we have people and systems, and there could be errors. And I can give you an example from a previous industry I worked from cybersecurity. Because in cybersecurity, everybody knows there will be an attack, they will be penetrated, so they will have issue with their data. They try to protect, of course, but they know there will be an attack. So what they do, the key is the process around. The key is, what do you do when there is an attack? What do you do when you have an issue? How do you solve it? How fast can you move? And I think it's the same in travel, actually. We put some systems in places, but the infrastructure is not simple. We don't work with a single provider of technology. We don't work with a single provider of hotels or with a single GDS maybe. So we work with multiple providers. We work with different systems that they need to work together. So, and also we work with a lot of people. Maybe my customer is educated one from the corporate account using the OBT tool, but another customer from the same account may call in the travel agency and ask to book manually something. And there is an opportunity for an error. So quality control will ensure that all the data is correctly input from the very beginning. And this, in my example with a corporate customer, let's say I have the cost center already captured from the very beginning, and I also have the reason of the trip. Why? Because later on in the process, when I issue the invoice to the customer, I need to put the cost center on that invoice. And this is just an example, but let's say the customer will go in using an email or a phone call, and I need to enter the correct details. I need to check his tariffs, his negotiated fares behind. So I need to check a lot of things. So before everything, I need to put some control. So I need to put some rules for the fields in my system in order to ensure people will fill in correctly. And if there is anything that I get and is wrong, then I can repair. So a process around. The second thing that I mentioned is the corporate fare rules. Because in a corporate environment, and you know, if you are working for a TMC, you deal with a lot of corporate customers, and you have a lot of different rules and tariffs. And of course, you have this because you want to differentiate. You want to come up with a proposition for that customer that will try to make your offer looking more interesting than your competitor. There are rules today in the market that gives you the flexibility to, let's say, only charge or charge in a different way for the local flights from Singapore within an area, or for long-haul flights with a different fee for as an agency fee. Or maybe you charge with a low fee for the internal within the corporate, like from Singapore to the office in Hong Kong and to another office in Kuala Lumpur. And for all of the rest of the flights, you charge in a different way. And so on for hotels. So, and you can create hundreds and thousands of rules. And I really seen a travel agency with this implementing with more than 1,000 corporate fare rules for different corporate accounts. And these rules are stored in a mid-back office in the travel ERP system. And with these rules, you can actually serve the customer with a proper rule. This is part of the automation mechanism at the end. And then, so I went, I press the button, I got a ticket, I do the ticketing that is done in the GDS at the end, in the GDS system. And then what happens behind is something that the customer doesn't see. So I get a file, MRI, AIR, or IUR file from the GDS system, and I process it automatically. But I also get another file from the hotel supplier, right? And I need to process this information automatically and then pass the invoice to the customer. I'm talking about a corporate customer. In the corporate world, I don't maybe invoice every day. So I need to accumulate the invoice, and at the end of the cycle, let's say every month, I will send automatically an invoice to the customer, no human touch, no other people around. So starting with the quality control, with the fare rules, and then automatic invoicing. Then it's automated balance at the end of the cycle again, because I have different suppliers. I have customers on one side and I have suppliers on the other side. Hotels and flights. For the GDS, it's simple. I get the information from IATA, but for the other suppliers, I have different files. And I need to put them together and to use some rules, an automation, an engine that will allow me to match the data in an automatic way, and then issue the payment, issue some reports, and clear everything out. And this is automated balance. And finally, automated reports. But this is a topic in itself very large. Because when you talk about reports, people understand different things. And in my example, it's very easy. I get as a corporate account, I get a report directly from my TMC at the end of the cycle with okay, I get the invoice also, but I get a report with the fees that I pay, with the trips that I made, and with all the relevant details that I'm interested in. And of course, there are a lot of standard reports in the market today. But what I want to talk about data, because data is really important for a travel agency. There are three things. So actionable insights, purpose-driven data, and asking the right question. By actionable insights, I'm bringing another example from my previous background from telecommunication. 10 years ago, when it was a crisis, I was involved in a project for a telecom provider when we tried to stop the decline in fares and in revenues. And we had a lot of information. But again, you have information in different systems, and it's difficult to put them together. So you need insights that you can play with. So we tried to put together information about devices, about roaming traffic, about local traffic, data traffic, how at that time it was different, how many smartphone devices they use, and then realize there are patterns around. So I'm sure patterns are in travel as well. People will cluster in patterns, and you will see that are more important customers than the others. There are customers that are using the service in a certain way, and in this way you can realize when is the churn, possible churn for a customer because they are not using with the same pattern or something bad had happened behind, when you can push something more for that customer. So I mean this is actionable inside a data that I collect with the purpose to use it further on. And I switch to the second, purpose-driven data. I read an article on McKinsey some time ago about this. Because we collect data and we don't know what to do with it. And we have nice reports. And I've seen tools, with a lot of information, a lot of nice reports, but no outcome, no output. So what we do with the data? There should be a purpose, and the purpose is related to the purpose of a travel agency. So I want to improve the efficiency working with a customer. I want to be more efficient. How? What are the key indicators to be more efficient? I want to improve the experience for the customer, or I want to show the customer the benefits of working with me. Okay, how do I do this? Let's say in my example, I just see that the customer is using most of the time the manual and not the OBT that I'm trying to convince him. And for me, it's not good because it's a lot of manual work and again, the errors that I was talking about. So I can run a report and show the customer the higher money that he pays for using the email or the phone and calling my agents, and not using the OBT that will automate also for me behind, but will help the customer to actually pay me less money. At the end, I gain more because I'm the agency and I know I'm saving more. But this is one way to show the benefit of OBT, and also one way to show that we have a purpose there when collecting the data. It is just a tiny example. So asking the right question when talking about data, it is the thing. So I went through a simple example. Of course, there are a lot of automation rules behind, a lot of more things that can be improved in a travel agency, and this is not rocket science. This is today available in the market. And I've already seen agencies using automation rule close to 100%. So it's really achievable, it's not a hype, and it's a matter of culture. It's a matter of corporate culture or the agency culture, how you want to do this in a step-by-step approach, usually, or with a flashcard. We change from the day one. We do everything in a different approach. I have proven examples. I know one of our customers, I will not say the name, using one of the product, managed to cut almost in half the cost with people. And for an agency with more than 1,000 employees, this is huge. So from the very first day, you see the benefit of using automation. So this was my short presentation. I hope it was something meaningful for you here. And I hope our booth is not far away from here, so I hope you can pass by our booth, see exactly how automation rules work in real life, so not just listening to my words, and have a deepened discussion with us and maybe helping your business to be improved. Thank you.